you to the third session of the Time Academy. I am Marc Martorell Escofet, Time, um, a policy officer at the Time Use Initiative, and this is the third session of the Time Academy, a capacity building program funded by the European Commission under the CERV program and the Time for All 2.0 project. In this session, we will be building up the knowledge we acquire from the first two ones, and we will see how time policies can be conceived. As we have seen, time is a quite transversal issue, and we will see how time policies can be conceived as transversal core issues within the institution with two specific examples of the Catalan Government and the Barcelona Provincial Council. Finally, we will be having time for questions and answers in breakout rooms, as we have been having these days, and also an introduction on the specific role of what the time chief officer is. Now, let me introduce you to the first speaker, Saray Espejo Benito. She is Director General for Care, Time Organization, and Work Equity at the Catalan Government. Saray, whenever you want, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here, whether it's your morning, your afternoon. I'm not sure in which time zone you all are, but thanks to all of you to join us today, and thanks for inviting us to talk about one of the projects that we lead from our Director General in the Generalitat de Catalunya, which is the government of Catalonia, one of the regions in Spain. We will be sharing a PowerPoint. I'm putting my time up, so because this is a time academy, so we have to be very serious about how much time we spend. So I don't want to depass any of the minutes that I was giving, but let me first thank you all again and tell you that today, as we were mentioned, we were asked to share some of the things that we do at regional level, and we decided with our team. Let me also introduce Clara, which is one of the members of the team that is joining today. We're going to talk about the case of the network of workplace equity of professionals. This is a network that we lead from the Generalitat, and it serves as a key driver in building time policies across different levels of administration. We see it as a cross-cutting public policy rooted in gender equality, care work, and improvement of time use. We believe that time policies are fundamental to advancing a more democratic and justice society because, as many of you or all of you know, women especially suffer from time poverty. And since we are the Department of Equality and Feminism, looking for women's rights is one of the top priorities of our minister. Also, let me express that as Government of Catalonia, we really consider that being present at the territorial is essential for us to develop local policies and to develop our regional policies because we want to be closer to citizens. And this is why we think that having presence locally at the local councils or county councils is so important to have more of an impact and more of a relevant improvement in time management. I'm not seeing. Are you seeing the PowerPoint? Because I'm not seeing. Okay, no one is seeing.
No,
okay.
Sorry, I cannot share the presentation. Mark, maybe you can share it because I'm having some problems sharing it.
Okay, I thought it was only me.
I'm sorry, I cannot share it.
It's okay, but we were checking before and everything was working, but it's okay. Yeah, that's the end. So we can pass to the next one. And Mark, if you cannot follow, I will let you know with no problem. It's gonna be easier to follow.
Sure.
So as here on the first slide, proper slide, you see a picture. This is our meeting. We host this meeting during the last Time Use Week in Barcelona in October 2024. And basically this is the picture of one of our annual meetings. And so you see the happy faces here. Everyone I think, is happy to be part of this network. Basically the network, which has a funny acronym, which in Catalan makes sense, which is EXPET, which in Catalan makes sense, but probably in English doesn't. It's what we understand a pioneering public policy that embeds specialized equality and time use professionals in local governments across Catalonia. Basically, what we do from the Director General is to finance these people that are based locally, and it's part of an inter-administrative agreement that we have between the department and the local authorities. These professionals work inside the local administrations at local level to ensure long-term structural implementation of workplace equality. And basically what we do is they work crucially on time use policies, but also building a territorial and institutional infrastructure for equality. As you will see here, basically we work with either municipalities that are more than 20,000 inhabitants or county councils of Catalonia. I can pass. This is the structure, how is it organized. For us, it's important that you understand that this is not only a commitment of the Director General that I have the honor to direct, but it's embedded in the structure of the ministry, of the Catalan Ministry for Equality and Feminism. We put in here the structure so you understand exactly how it falls. It falls with the Director General of Care, Time Organization and Workplace Equality, but we make sure that we have a legal basis, a legal foundation to justify its existence. Also, I want to make sure that you understand that the actions are not only developed from the Director General, although our team is very committed to that, but also we use the network of the territorial services that we have in the different parts of the country, in Catalonia, I mean. For those of you that don't understand how the Generalitat de Catalunya works, you don't have to. Let me explain very easily. Every of the ministries that we have what we call the territorial services. So it's like a mini ministry in each of the regions of Catalonia, which helps city council or local authorities to have a direct connection with the department. This is a network that works not only for our ministry and our department, but with all the departments, and it makes easier for them to know how to develop exactly the policies that we promote from the department. Let me stress also, as I mentioned before, that all of this, we see it as a part to support the law 17/2015, which is the law on effective equality between women and men and because we always use the legal framework to justify our actions. As many of you know, we are in the world seeing an advance of political forces that are against equality between women and men. And that's why every time we design a political tool or public policy, we make sure that we have the legal basis to sustain it. So we are protected, and our workers and our policies are protected at local level. We can pass to the next slide. So here you can see a bit the evolution of the numbers of the members that we have. How it works is at the beginning of the year, we ask the local authorities of Catalonia to submit an application to have one of the person of the network to be working with their organization. They submit their request, and then if they fulfill the rules, which all of them fulfill them, we grant them the budget. So for this year, for the 2025 submission, we have 70 requested. Our team is working on the administrative steps to make sure that everything is okay. But even though we see that it's a good number, there is a lot of room for improvement. So we are working in a new framework that is maybe going to make easier for city councils, especially the smaller ones, to have this kind of person that is dedicated to equality in the workplace policies. Right now, we have 51 workplace equity professionals deployed across Catalonia, but we expect to increase the number in the next years. Let me also stress that the development and enlargement of the network is one of the priorities, not only of the Department of Equality and Feminism, but also the Catalan government as such. So it's one of the main policies that is included in the program for the current government. We can advance. Here, we included a lot of information here because we know we're going to share this with you. And one thing is listening to me, but then if you want to make sure what I said, we thought it was easier that you have everything in written. But as I mentioned, everything is legally banded in this inter-administrative agreement between the department, the local authorities, and we have a set rule of principles that is including and activities that they have to do. We're gonna go through some of them, so you make sure, but we wanted to put everything in here so you understand more or less what this network of people are doing. What it's something that is key for their work and how they design with this network is that we make sure that time and care are horizontal elements when they do their work. They are embedded across all policies and actions, and it's not treated as a separate topic, but as a foundational aspect of equity. And we work with this under this principle. We can pass the next slide. So here you have exactly also some of the axes, the strategic axis of the network. The main responsibilities include when I say main is that we do this, and as I mentioned, we have a very close relationship between the department and the members of the professionals, the members of the network. So whenever they have questions, whenever they have proposals, we include them also in the activities, but here we include some of the main responsibilities. So one of them, and that for us is essential, is the development and advising on equality plans, helping institutions and organizations implementing gender equality measures in the workplace. Why we think it's essential? It comes back a bit with what I mentioned before. For us, it's very important that when we develop policy, there is a legal document that is binding the different parts. So for us, it's very important that not only companies, institutions also have equality plans. So that the parts commit to the objectives that are set in the equality plan, and then everyone knows where the responsibilities lay and where the actions need to be developed and what are we going to do and when there is an issue or when there is a conflict. So we work a lot on having equality plans. This is one of our top priorities in the Director General, and actually we are working towards also working on plans for companies under 50 employees, which is the legal limit of the Spanish law. Companies or institutions over 50 employees are obliged to have an equality plan, but we are working towards having also plans for under 50. So that's one of the rules, that's one of the legal and binding documents that we are really putting forward, and our network of professionals are really working with local companies and public services and so on to develop their own equality plans. Also, one of the things that we found that is super relevant and absolutely necessary is providing training to public service servants and organizations on equity, care, and time-related policies. Probably all of you that you are here, you're already very knowledgeable and understanding of the importance of having this kind of policies and how to implement them. But we have to make an honesty assessment and know that not everyone is so committed, not everyone understands the relevance of these kind of policies. So one of the things that we are really putting forward and investing a lot of not only time but also economic resources, which in public policy means a lot, is in training not only our members of our networks, which we also do, we train them, but also the institutions and organizations where they are part. Because what we don't want is that our professional on equality is an island in the middle of the administration. We want them to be well embedded in the administration, and we want them that the rest of the colleagues understand the role and understand how important it is to develop this kind of policies. And also what we also do is coordinating community-based actions to promote awareness and cultural change. What we don't want is that we are the only ones fighting this fight. We want that everyone, civil society organization, public administration, company are involved and committed to improve equity and also obviously improvement of the time use policies. And to do that, we cannot do it alone. So we are to promote this cultural change, and we want to do it hand in hand with other institutions. In this sense, these professionals maintain very close relations with companies, third sector organizations, and public entities in their territories. Their work promote gender equality not only within the institution where they are based, but across the broader ecosystem of the region. We can pass. As I mentioned before, we work with our network of our territorial services, and they know very well, they know the regions very well, and we coordinate with them, and we also exchange experiences and best practices. One of the things that we find that is really giving an added value to our network is that since everyone is based on the territory, we hear many things that are happening that can be small, but also they can have a very impactful and changing nature. In the next slides, we're gonna share a bit of the resources and tools that are available. I have to say that everything is in Catalan, which is our language, but I'm sure that with all the tools that exist nowadays, you can access and properly understand everything that is available. But we have a website that is updated with the projects and actions of the Director General. We have the RAIGAL, which is also a funny name, but it's an online repository for workplace gender equality actions. I really strongly recommend you that you check out, because this has been gathering information for many years, and the amount of things and experiences and examples of how to improve time management is very nicely done. We also have a mailbox of the network workplace professionals where you can submit your questions. We can go fast. Then we have some publications, some virtual training, also very important legal and regulatory updates, changes in equality, labor, and time use policies that are relevant to the public actors. And the last one, we have, as I mentioned at the beginning, annual meetings and updates on grants and funding opportunities that are relevant to our members of our network. So I'm going to stop here. I don't know if Mar has a question or something.
Yes, thank you, Sarai. And Thank you for this great presentation. Would you happen to have any examples, specific examples on how you are implementing this network?
Yeah, thank you. We wanted to share with you a few, actually only three, because we are already, I think, running a bit tight. Examples of how we're doing how exactly what we are doing at local level and what the actions carried with our network of workplace equity professionals, why we think they are transformatives and they do it in a and how they do it very, very well. We choose three, we're going to present you three cases, two of city councils and one of a county council, sorry, and then one of a city council. We decided that we're going to present examples of different regions of Catalonia that have different conditions also when it comes to how urban versus rural they are, number or how much experience they have in time use policies. The first example that we wanted to present you is the Baix Ebre County Council. If you can see the map of Catalonia, this is basically almost at the very south of our beautiful country. It's located in the Terres de l'Ebre. The ones of you that don't know, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful. I'm not working for the tourism department, but let me tell you that it's a very nice place to visit. So if you at times you come to our to Catalonia, you can always visit. But it's a region with a lot of small and separated dispersed municipalities that basically it's a rural environment, which means that it's limited mobility, difficulty to access to services, deep-rooted gender inequalities in employment and caregiving responsibilities. With this framework, the county council promoted a county time agreement with a transformative approach to time justice. Basically, included a bit of 43 concrete measures, so organized by sector, covering areas such as employment, education, care services, disadvantaged groups, etc. What we were really interested is this was an active participation of local government and businesses, trade unions, university, and the measures are structured around 5 core areas: work-life balance, care services, mobility, democratic participation, and personal and leisure time. Let me also stress that this has its own monitoring system with clear indicators. As a government, we make sure that we include indicators for every policy that we design, because it's the only way to know whether we are doing well, where we are reaching the targets, and so on. That's one of the examples. Then we can go to the second example. This is a different area. It's more in the north of the country, La Selva County Council. It's an intermediate comarque with a small and medium-sized municipalities, some of which have a semi-industrial or service-oriented profile. The project is led by the county council, which acts as a key reference in driving force to promote and coordinate the initiative across the region. Some of the main ideas as the Pact of the Right for Time, equality in the workplace, time for caregiving, and the connection with local community tables of education, health, youth, culture, among others, with the idea of promoting very grounded territorial action. And the last example, it's something that is very close to Barcelona, Sant Boi de Llobregat, which is about 80,000 inhabitants of the metropolitan area of Barcelona. So it's very close to where we are based. The idea was to create a dedicated local website focused on time use, monthly updates on news, data, resources, committing to keeping public debate alive around time and equality, ensure responsibility, and using the communication as a tool of an improvement and as a transformative tool for public policy. I'm gonna stop here, and I hope it was useful. I know it was a bit fast, but let me then take questions later on when we do the groups. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarai. Thank you for the presentation and the examples. Later on, we will be having time for questions in breakout rooms, as we have been having these days. But now, first of all, we have a question for you all on whether or not it will appear in your screen. Do you know or do you have any similar networks to this one in your territories? Let's have some minutes for answering. And results are already appearing. It can be from any kind of institutions. In general, we are seeing a majority, you will see now, a majority, there are 69% of no, so you don't have this kind of networks, and 31% that actually have this kind of networks. It would be interesting, for instance, reflecting on the break room sessions, which kind of examples do you have, if they can relate to these ones or not, and in case you don't have it, maybe think, especially if you are regions or regional or above municipality representatives, how can you learn from this experience in the case of implementing this kind of networks that can be really useful when helping other smaller municipalities to develop their policies. Now let me go to the next speaker. She is Gemma Parera. Gemma Parera from the Barcelona City Council. She works as an officer.
Provincial.
Yes, sorry. Barcelona Provincial Council. She is officer of the social sustainability, life cycle, and community of such institution. So, Gemma, I have a small question for you. In this case, what is the context and objectives of your time policy? I think you will speak about local time organization plans and how does it align with helping municipalities to plan time policies. Whenever you want, you have the floor.
Good morning to all, and thank you, Mark, for your introduction. Yes, as you were telling, I'm going to present the local time management plans guide that we elaborated from Diputació de Barcelona, the Barcelona Provincial Council. First of all, then let me introduce you what Diputació de Barcelona is. The Barcelona Provincial Council is a supramunicipal entity that we give support, financial, technical, legal, training support to the 311 municipalities of the province of Barcelona. Our objective is to ensure equity and quality of the local services, and also to promote innovation and networking between municipalities and local authorities, which is very important to improve local policies. So I'm working in the Department of Social Sustainability, Life Cycle, and Community, which we work to guarantee social and civil rights of people during all the life. No, we try to promote social cohesion. Then we are working to develop to give a response to the needs, demands, aspirations of people based on social equity. Then we tried also to go forward in new social rights. For example, right to time, also other rights such as right to care or right to the promotion of emotional well-being. These are new social rights that we think that it's important to go forward in them. And also it's very important that we work intersectional cross government in developing these rights. So for the Department of Social Sustainability, Life Cycle, and Community of the Diputació de Barcelona, time policies are a very important area because the right of time to time is important for individual well-being, but also for social cohesion. And it's important for the recognition and co-responsibility in caregiving and community participation. Also, we know that individual time among people, especially mainly women with caregiving responsibilities, is almost non-existent. And we have a social problem of time poverty. More than a third of women with children in Europe suffer from time poverty. And we also know that the right to time guarantees health and promotes social inclusion. So our objectives are to ensure this right to time, to tackle time poverty, and closely related to this objective, to give value to caregiving and promote care programs based on co-responsibility. We were also talking about this with Sarai before. Then we want to work also on the right to time in the municipalities, in the neighborhoods, in the communities, because we think municipalities are very important in this discussion to change the organization of time in our territories. Then our framework of work is Barcelona Declaration for Time Policies, the interinstitutional agreement between the Catalan administration and the time use, and the Barcelona Provincial Council mandate action plan that we have that recognizes this right to time. So let me introduce very briefly the actions we are developing in this area. The residential respite center service. It's the respite service is a service that provides temporary care for informal caregivers of elderly people and also people with intellectual disabilities. So what we want is these people can access to time for themselves, which is often very difficult. We also offer emotional support and mutual to groups for informal caregivings. We know that the majority of the caregivers are women, 80% of them, that dedicate more than 10 hours to caring. So they need these times also for sharing experiences and to have a respite also for them of their daily responsibilities. So we know, and we have evaluated this program, that this kind of action reduces their anxiety and gives them a better health. We also have a program of caring municipalities which consists on intersectional and participatory strategy. We do discussion groups with professionals, family caregivers, people receiving care, social organizations to improve care in the territory, in the municipality. And also, of course, we work on time policies in this project. And especially I wanted to introduce you the support we give to municipalities to develop these local time management plans. We think it's a very important tool to achieve more balanced time use in the municipality through an organized set of measures that are implemented transversally. This is very important, with the city council and with the participation of social partners. So we made a guide for the implementation of these local time management plans. It's a tool for achieving this more balanced use of time that we are aiming to and making citizens' right to time a reality. Why now this guide? Because we are working on time policies since long ago, but now we are working in this guide because we think there is a wide discontent with time. There is a new legislation in Spain on time use, which will impact the workday and also which will mean a future obligation for municipalities with more than 50,000 inhabitants to have local time management plans. So we want to help municipalities to develop them. And there is an evidence of the benefits of time management policies in terms of social equality, well-being, and health, also in productivity and social sustainability. So we have now a very, very big evidence of these benefits. So it's important to promote plans to work on time policies in municipalities. Then what we want, it's important to do an exercise at the municipal level on how time is organized in this territory. What inequalities exist? Because there are a lot of inequalities in time use. What time policies are being implemented? Because sometimes there are a lot of policies that we don't identify. We don't identify them as time policies, but it's important. We recognize that. And we have to think also what kind of time policies could be implemented. Then we think that it's important that municipalities not only give social services, cultural service, sports, all kind of services to citizens, but also they ensure that the population has time, has this right to time. It's also a responsibility of the local authorities. And how to implement this responsibility. So we think that these local time management plans are a good tool for that. What are they? They are an instrument that helps to analyze how we organize the diverse uses of time with the objective of guaranteeing the right to time for all citizens, addressing, of course, inequalities in time use. How? Through measures promoted by the City Council, taking into account a diagnosis, a roadmap of actions that allows the perspective of time use to be placed in all municipal actions, and with a system for monitoring and evaluating the objectives. So this will be the general framework of what we are doing with this local time management plan.
Thank you, Gemma. Thank you for explaining what local time management plan is. And now let me introduce you to Alba Elvira, Officer of the Social Sustainability, Life Cycle and Community of the Barcelona Provincial Council as well. Alba, what would you say are the benefits and specific steps to elaborate a local time management plan?
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for being here. Thanks also for inviting us. Well, in this second part of our presentation, I will focus on the benefits, as Mark was questioning, and also the methodology behind the local time management plans, and also the key actors involved in their development. Time policies may sound abstract, but in reality, they touch many concrete aspects of everyday life. As I said, I'd like to start emphasizing why local governments should invest in the development of local time management plans. Time policies contribute significantly to general well-being of society by improving how people manage their own time and how they can adapt it to different life stages and personal circumstances. There is a strong evidence, as my colleague was saying, that time policies have positive effects in 4 key dimensions. First, health and well-being. Research shows that current time organization can reduce quality of life and increase psychosocial risk for people of all ages. Disruption of biological rhythms has been linked to physical health issues, such as cardiovascular disease, increased cancer risk, and obesity, as well as mental health problems like anxiety and behavioral disorders. By addressing these issues, time policies directly contribute to improving public health and overall well-being. Time policies also help to address social inequalities, especially if we apply an intersectional approach, and especially regarding the distribution of domestic and care work. They are aimed at improving work-life balance and promoting co-responsibility between men and women, which is essential for achieving greater gender equality. Time policies also have a significant impact on productivity and well-being in the workplace. For instance, flexible working hours have been shown to enhance employee performance and overall company productivity. Moreover, shorter or better structured working days give people more time to rest and recover, which in turn improves their mental and physical health. And as a result, they are more alert and efficient during work hours. Last but not least, sustainability. Time policies promote environmental, social, and democratic sustainability in line with the holistic approach to sustainability proposed by the United Nations. Environmentally, these policies can help adapt urban infrastructure and public services to citizens' real needs, for instance, in urban or interurban mobility. As social and democratic sustainability are also shaped by time use, a lack of free time negatively impacts the quality of democracy and citizen participation. To create a plan, different agents participate, each with specific but complementary roles. These include the municipal government, the time policy leadership group, the time chief officer, and the sector working groups. Each of them has a clear role, but coordination among them is key for a successful plan. So let's go through each of them briefly. The municipal government plays a crucial role because it formally approves the plan and, more importantly, ensures political support and the resources for implementing it. This gives the process legitimacy and continuity. Then we have the time policy leadership group. This is a small team between 5 and 6 people, usually made up of elected officials or senior managers. They provide strategic guidance. More specifically, they define the strategic axis and the priority actions of the plan. They make sure that the plan is aligned with the municipal action plan, and they oversee the process and help unblock any issue that may arise along the way. This is like the steering committee of the process. As you know, very often in local governments, we lack someone dedicated to thinking about time. That's where the time chief officer comes in. This person, who can be a civil servant or also an external expert, manages the day-to-day process. Time chief officers should coordinate between teams, especially with the leadership group, organize the working sessions of the sectoral group, draft the plan, including the diagnosis, and they lead the development and the monitoring of the process. It's a key figure because they give structure to the process. And last, then we have the sectoral working groups. These are small topic-specific teams of 3 to 8 people. They can include city staff, experts, or even citizenship, depending on the topic. Their main job is to provide a specific insight on the areas addressed, like mobility, care, education, or any other public service. They are especially important when it comes to defining the concrete actions of the plan. Time, as you know, is a cross-cutting issue. So these kind of plans involve different areas within the city council. Typically, they address 7 areas. Paid work, which includes working hours, company flexibility, and other economic activity. Also, domestic and care work. This often invisible but essential work for society. Commuting time is also very important. How long we spend moving around, when and where. Education, not only school time, but nurseries and after-school activities. Then it addresses rest and nighttime services, this essential time to disconnect, rest, and also all the specific services that are provided during the night, like street cleaning, for example. Then we have the leisure and public facilities, which would include sports, culture, and associations. And finally, the administrative procedures and civic participation, because it is essential to have time to engage with the city and the public administration, and to have time to participate also in associations. All these dimensions are interconnected, so changes in one of them can affect the others. Now I will focus on the methodology we follow when we elaborate these plans. The methodology is divided in 5 phases. The first phase is, of course, starting the process. In this initial phase, the leadership group is formed and a time chief officer is appointed. This sets the foundation, both politically and technically. In phase 2, we do a diagnosis of time use in the municipality. We gather data, both qualitative and quantitative, on how time is used in the municipality, what are the main challenges, what policies are already in place, and where there is room for improvement. We should pay attention here to differences by gender, age, or income when it's possible, and also between daytime and nighttime. This diagnosis helps tailor the plan and give response to the specific local needs. Based on this diagnosis and also the city goals, the leadership group meets again and define the main objectives and strategic axis of the plan. This step ensures that the plan is focused and realistic. And in phase 4, the specific actions are defined. This roadmap is defined. The description of each action should include what needs to be done and the level of priority, who is responsible for that action, when it will happen, what resources are needed, and how progress will be monitored. Sectoral working groups help draft these actions, but these actions are validated by the leadership group. It's also common, as I said before, to involve citizens in this part of the process. And finally, we design monitoring and an evaluation system. Each action is tracked, whether it's completed, in progress, or still pending, and results are documented. This helps maintain accountability and momentum over the process. Right now, we are piloting this methodology into municipalities within the province of Barcelona. Sant Adrià del Besòs, with about 38,000 residents, and El Prat de Llobregat with over 66,000 residents. It's too early to draw conclusions, but we have already seen strong interest and engagement from local authorities. Once the pilot projects are completed, we will revise this methodology, we will revise the guide that we already have, and we will publish the final version of the guide in 3 languages, in Catalan, Spanish, and English. So if you are interested in time policies for your city, this is a great moment to start thinking about it, and we really hope that this guide will help you in this process. And thanks so much for your attention.
Thank you, Alba, for this interesting presentation. Thanks the Barcelona Provincial Council also for developing such a tool. As we did before, we have a question for you all. Remember to gather your questions. You will be able to ask directly to Alba and Gemma your questions in breakout rooms. But for now, let me also share again a poll survey, if I can think. We are having some. Sorry. So let me ask you, do you have any similar instrument to the local time organization plans or anything that sees public policy, not only in time policies, but in general in public policies, to have them as core policies, transversal policies, and to steer and involve both public representatives and citizens? If you want to vote. Again, it will be useful in the breakout rooms to either discuss or on how better to implement such different time plans, or say specifically which kind of tools you have in your specific context, so you can have it. And as you can see, there is a majority of no, but also 31% of people, of representatives here that have these kind of plans. So it's a good tool to begin developing time policies. And now let me also introduce you to the last speaker. She's Marta Junque. You already know her, Director of the Time Use Initiative. Marta, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be here with you again and to see some of the faces that have been working with that during the last 3 sessions. Today, to finalize these first interventions, what I wanted to do is to summarize why it's important to have time policies and work transversally. As you know, once a policy is transversal, it can become a challenge because it's more difficult sometimes to coordinate, but it also has many advantages. So briefly, in 5 minutes before we go to the breakup rooms, I will develop a bit more on how to manage this transversality, and I will develop as well a bit more the concept that Alba has already introduced on time chief officer. So again, we will share our initial presentation so you can be seeing the slides. Let me make sure that you see it, all of you. Yeah? No?
Yes.
Sorry. No. Sorry. This was that. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, now you can see it fantastically on the screen, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So basically, I wanted to start after the explanations that Sarai have given on this amazing network, equity network of professionals that they have around the territory, and what Gemma and Alba has explained about transversally and how to have a cross plan on time policies throughout the organization, to have this initial mindset on why that's important. In the UNDP conference, in the Istanbul Innovation Days in 2025, a few months ago, it was stated that time policy represent one of the most innovative frontiers or new fields of policies inside of public policy. Why? Because they are guided by several principles. They prioritize time equity among the diverse needs of gender, age, socioeconomic groups. So they prioritize equity. That is one of the needs of the current society. They also, time policies, embrace systemic coordination. They need to involve the implications of several departments, as the examples that today have shown. They are also time policies. Most of them, they are driven by data. So we use data of what is the current situation, and we can use indicators on how it has changed. This was shown yesterday with the examples of Blay and Noemí Bolzano in Barcelona, but also today the 2 speakers have been talking about that. They also look for the participatory governance. Time policies usually are not designed in a office close. They usually require, as we saw today and yesterday, the participation of the rest of the institution, but as well the citizens. So they have this participatory approach. And especially they recognize time as one of the public goods of the 21st century. Not just money, also time, that is a good that everybody has, but has lack of using it satisfactorily. Because all of that, in the Istanbul Innovation Days, in the United Nations Development Program World Conference, they were saying that was one of the most innovative areas. Just to give you a couple of examples, and probably you have many of them in your head, to solve time-related problems, you need to coordinate among different. For example, if you want to reduce the urban congestion by identifying the peak hours and making actions on there. This is something that we will work tomorrow. You cannot do it just from the mobility department. You need to do it with the mobility department, with the education department, with the labor department, with the equity department. And that's why having a person that coordinates all the time policies and ensuring this transversal view is so important. And this happens as well with examples of care work, gender equality, and promoting a more co-responsibility. They need to go beyond traditional municipal structures that operates in silos, and they need to come back to become much more cross-sectorial. And that's why we believe there's this figure of the time chief officer that is a responsible role dedicated to transversal coordination, development, and evaluation of municipal time policies. It's very important to have in the different institutions. This role is especially interesting in order to break these institutional silos and foster the cooperation between different departments to develop these time policies. This time chief officer, as Alba has already explained, they need to have a balance between the regulatory and the awareness-raising functions. They need to give a transversal impulse across all the municipals and regional areas. They need to work on all the policy cycle management to develop, implement, and evaluate time policies, as yesterday we saw some examples. And they need to work with this coordination between the different departments. It's very important that also the time chief officer can collect data, probably with the help of the statistics department, and can use this data to define new policies and evaluate them. And it needs to have a point of mediation, because many times, as we say, time policies are a win-win for everybody, but it's important to find a mediation between the different stakeholders. As a profile, as a requirements, we always say is that it depends on the characteristics of your city and of your region, but basically quite of an academic background that has experience on policy design, implementing and developing an analysis, that has skills of transversal coordination, communication, negotiation, can be very useful to define that. In conclusion for today, and with that is my last slide, we see time chief officer as a strategic transversal role for municipalities and modern and smart municipalities that they are looking to address time poverty and promote equity and urban well-being. What we would like to know as well today is how many of you are willing to have a time chief officer in their city. Here you have a map of what we have around the world. At the moment, we have identified 85 night offices and 27 time chief officers office that they do that. That's the ones that have been participating during today, or even a person doing that as a responsible. It can be as yesterday Bolzano was explaining, in Italy, in France, there is a law that obligates that cities around 50,000 inhabitants approx, they should have a time office. But sometimes it's complex to create an office. So we prefer to talk on just creating a position that is the time chief officer. But if we look at officers and offices, we can see that we have a total of 85 night and time officers around the world. It's not little, it's quite a lot. We want to keep growing on that. And our dream, and the dream of the local and regional governments time network, that is a network that promotes interaction among all these municipalities and regions is that we can have much more cities having the figure of time chief officer. With that, it's all for today, and I will give the word again to Marc Martorell to continue with the session.
Welcome all. We are waiting for everyone to come here from the record rooms. Now we will be joining for closing remarks. Probably, I think we are also waiting for record room 2 to finish. Let's wait for 20 seconds and we will be closing. I hope the discussion was interesting in both rooms. Welcome everyone. We're waiting for both record rooms to come here. And now we can think there is still some people waiting and joining. But yes, I think we are all here. Thank you all for joining. Now Marta Junque, Director of the Time Use Initiative, will close the session. We hope everything was interesting.
Fantastic. Fantastic colleagues. Thank you very much to all that have been participating today in this amazing session where the Director General Sarai Espejo has explained us very well how it works, a network of professionals on time policies around all a territory of 7 million people. And then Alba and Gemma from the from the Barcelona Provincial Council, they have explained me very clear how to do a plan to have an overview of what's going on the municipalities on time policies and which is the vision that you want to get. We hope that this has been useful for you. We just remember that tomorrow we have our last session of this Time Academy that started on Monday. And tomorrow we will have a very interesting and innovative session, which we will talk about time policies for climate action. It will come with the participation of Alice Ricobar from the metropolis of Rennes, and and Sergio Daneluzzi and Susanna Molterini from the Milan City Council. So we wait for you tomorrow for all of you. And before that, we want to launch, as always, the last question to all of you to know how useful was the session of today. So Marc is going to launch the question. You can vote. And from here, it helps us to identify what we can do better and which sessions are more interesting for you. There are already more than 30 people that has voted. We give, and the answers of today, as you can see, 75% of you have considered that the session was highly interesting, and 25% of you medium, and none of you considered that was not interesting. That's very, very, very good. Thank you again, Sarai, Clara, Gemma, and Alba Elvira for your amazing explanations. And thank you, colleagues, for your time. And see you tomorrow in the last but not least Time Academy session. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.